Welcome to Rewrite Her Voice, the podcast that takes a bold and compassionate look at the inner critic living rent-free in your head. You know the one. She's judgmental, perfectionistic, and never misses a chance to tear you down. But here's the truth. That voice isn't truly you. Each week, we dive into an honest conversation with powerful stories and practical tools to uncover where that inner mean girl came from, why she shows up, and how to rewrite her script. It's time to reclaim your inner voice, break the cycle of self-sabotage, and speak to yourself with the kindness and strength you deserve. If you're ready to stop letting your inner mean girl run the show and start showing up as your most authentic, empowered self, let's go. Hey, welcome back, sunshine. I'm so happy you're here. Have you ever noticed how sometimes the smallest adjustments can make the biggest difference? So in yoga, okay, this is what started the thought process here for me. In yoga, a teacher might tell you, or maybe if you're like me and you do the YouTube videos, they might tell you to soften your shoulders or engage your core or slightly shift your foot placement. It feels tiny, right? Almost insignificant. And yet, suddenly, that pose feels stronger, more stable, more sustainable, right? And the same thing happens in weightlifting, right? A slight adjustment to your grip, your stance, or your posture can make a lift feel completely different. And if you're a runner, you know that changing your stride, posture, breathing, or your foot strike by just a little can improve your efficiency and help prevent injury. So what's interesting is that we understand this concept really well when it comes to our bodies, right? But when it comes to our thoughts, emotions, and patterns, we often assume we need a complete overhaul. We can call this the fix everything trap. Many of us approach personal growth like we're trying to renovate an entire house overnight. We think, I need more discipline. I need more motivation. I need to stop overthinking. I need to stop people pleasing. I need to be more confident. And because the list feels so big, we either become overwhelmed or we give up before we really started. Transformation doesn't happen all at once. We've talked about this a lot lately. So let's take it a step further. What if transformation doesn't happen all at once and it happens through micro adjustments? So think about yoga for a minute. If you've ever taken a class, or like I said, if you're like me and you do the yoga videos on YouTube, you've probably heard the instructor give what feels like the smallest correction. Lift your chest. Relax your jaw, shift your weight slightly back, lift your pelvic floor, tiny adjustments. Yet those tiny adjustments can completely change the experience of the pose. The pose itself didn't change. You changed your relationship to it. And I think that's true in life too. Sometimes we don't need a completely different situation. We need a different way of relating to the situation we're already in. So let's talk to the people who like to lift weights, right? I like to lift weights, but maybe you don't do yoga and maybe you do lift weights, whatever. So when you're lifting weights, poor form can make an exercise harder, less effective, or even painful, right? Have you ever been there? The goal isn't usually to lift heavier immediately, is it? The goal is to improve the movement pattern first, perfect the form, right? Because proper form creates a stronger foundation. The same thing applies emotionally. Many of us try to force bigger results without looking at the pattern underneath. We want more confidence, but maybe the micro adjustment is noticing how often we criticize ourselves. We want better boundaries, but maybe the micro adjustment is pausing before automatically saying yes. We want less anxiety. But maybe the micro adjustment is learning to notice when we're spiraling before we're fully caught in it. The strength comes from practicing the pattern, not forcing the outcome. We're perfecting our form, right? So I'm a runner, and one of the things that runners learn is that trying harder isn't always the answer. Okay, so sometimes running faster actually comes from becoming more efficient. Running longer comes from becoming more efficient, relaxing that unnecessary tension, improving your breathing, adjusting your posture, using less energy to create better results. And this, I think, is where so many women get stuck. We've been taught that growth requires pushing harder, trying harder, doing more. But what if you're already working hard enough? What if the next step isn't more effort? What if it's a small adjustment? A different thought, a different response, a different conversation with yourself. Micro adjustments might sound like, instead of I failed again, you shift to I'm learning. Instead of I have to figure everything out today, you shift to what's my very next step. Instead of I should be further along, you shift to I'm further than I was before. Instead of automatically abandoning yourself when things get hard, you choose curiosity. Instead of criticizing yourself for having a survival response, you ask what your nervous system might need. Tiny shifts. But over time, these tiny shifts, they create an entirely different outcome. One workout does not transform your body. You know this. One run does not make you a strong runner. You know this. One yoga class does not make you super flexible. You know this. It's the repetition of small adjustments in those things over time. It's the compound effect. And personal growth is no different. Most lasting transformation isn't dramatic. It's subtle. It's choosing a slightly different thought, a slightly different response, a slightly different action again and again and again and again. Until one day, you realize you're showing up differently without having to force it. If there's one thing I hope you take from today's episode, it's this, okay? You do not have to become a completely different person to create meaningful change. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is make one small adjustment, one shift in perspective, one kinder thought, one new response. Because just like in yoga, weightlifting, and running, it's often the smallest adjustments that create the strongest foundation. Now, if this episode spoke to your soul, okay, if this episode was like me calling you out, first off, sorry, not sorry. But also, I'd love to hear from you. Hit me up in the comments or find me on socials and send me a message. I would love to hear from you. Also, don't forget to join us in Love Rach email chats. You can find us at loverach.com, or you can click the email link in the show notes. The email chats are a space where we talk shifting self-talk, understanding patterns, building emotional resilience, and creating that sustainable growth one small step at a time. Like I said, you can find the details in the show notes. And if you're not already following the podcast, make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Remember, you don't need to overhaul your entire life today. Nope, you sure don't. Just look for the next small adjustment. Sometimes that's where everything begins. You are loved. You are worthy and you are enough, my friend. Until the next time, Love Rach. Hey, my sweet friend. Thank you so much for spending time with me today on Rewrite Her Voice. If you loved today's episode, will you hit that subscribe button for me? And be sure to share it with a friend. If you're ready to quiet your inner mean girl and step into your own authentic voice, I would love for you to join me inside our Cultivating membership. Until next time, remember, you are enough.